the new WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world as he falls to his knees in the centre of the ring here at the Vitality Stadium here in Bournemouth, joined by his partner, both in tears, embracing each other. A tremendous, tremendous night for him and the people of Bournemouth. Those cards all over the place, just to read them out for you one more time. 112, 112, 116, 107 and a 115, 108. I was just totting up the possibilities of how people could interpret the point deductions. Now, I personally scored that fight 112, 112, right? But if I'd gone the other way with the point deductions and given 10-8s instead of 9-9s,
it's way in favour of Billam-Smith.
It's way in favour of Billam-Smith. I think the conclusion is Lawrence Okolie did not win that fight. He threw it away.
There were 5 points taken away from him ultimately, weren't there? So that could be effectively 5 rounds. What's amazing about those scorecards is that boxing is such a strange sport. When you're watching, it's so subjective. 112, 112 versus 116, 107. That favouring the work of Billam-Smith and against what Okolie was doing. Okolie was undone by his own style tonight, apart from those 3 knockdowns.
Yep, totally agree with that. You know, Okolie was, his own enemy in there tonight. And yes, he was having his successes, but anyone watching that fight would know that Chris Billam-Smith won the contest. For me, he won the contest, even without the deduction. Well, with the knockdowns, he won the contest for me. I had him winning by 3.
I'll go as far as to say that he didn't lose it. I'll go as far as to say he did not lose, because Lawrence, like you say, you have, how many point deductions were it? You had 2 point deductions, you had 3 knockdowns classed against him. That's a very difficult space to be winning fights from Lawrence Okolie.
Listen, talkSPORT's the home of football and boxing. In footballing terms, what Okolie did tonight, he scored a couple of goals, but he just kept putting the ball in his own net again and again and again. And when you're doing that, you're just handcuffing yourself.
Chris Billam-Smith just addressing the crowd. We'll hopefully get hold of him in a minute as Gareth Davis, listen, he gets where water won't go, and Gareth Davis is already in the ring ready to interview Chris Billam-Smith on a sensational night for him as he pays tribute to his friend and former sparring partner Lawrence Okolie. Okolie looked good early doors. I had him winning the first 3 rounds, and then in the fourth round we had that sensational turn of events where Chris Billam-Smith, as we were pleading with him to do, stepped off to the right-hand side, let that left hand go, and landed crisp right on the whiskers of Lawrence Okolie and put him down for the first time in his professional career and scored himself a 10-8 round. And that's where really the momentum and the unravelling came from, because in the following round Lawrence Okolie had a point deducted. You could score that obviously a 10-8 in favour of Chris Billam-Smith. The round after that was close, maybe Billam-Smith nicked that, and then there was another point deduction in the round after that, and it was just one unravelling after another unravelling after another unravelling there from then on in for Lawrence Okolie.
Listen, that was a fascinating fight for all those reasons that you just highlighted. Lawrence Okolie won those first 3 rounds, won them convincingly, and there was a desperate, tired look on Chris Billam-Smith's face. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he done what we said he needed to do, stepped off the line, went round to the side, threw the left hook, landed it flush, and that's where the fight changed, and changed massively. What Chris Billam-Smith did do was he showed that he's got the grit, the determination, and the cojones to become a world champion, because that was tough, really tough, but that's what champions are made of.
Credit to his strength and conditioning, because we thought he was gassed in the 3rd round. He found a way to obviously navigate himself 12 rounds, and he took some whacks tonight, Alex. His chin held up under the biggest of pressure.
And so did his right glove. There's so many of those right hands. He always had his high guard, so his left glove, I should say. He always had his left glove up high, and all those right hands, they were landing every single time, but most of the impact was taken by his left glove. So his defences were spot on today, his conditioning, his mindset, something that Spencer mentioned, and Gareth at the very start of the show, that might be the most important factor. And that, as well as Okolie's handcuffing himself, really, from the 3rd, 4th round onwards, and mentally, that is going to be a big hurdle for him to, because, earlier on tonight, we spoke about Lee Wood. Apparently he watched the Lara knockdown 40 times. I don't know how many times Lawrence Okolie is going to watch that fight back.